Hello, welcome again once more to Wondrous Schooling Academy. Today we're looking at another topic. Yes, we're looking at another topic. And the topic's name is parts of speech. Parts of speech, parts of speech. Do you know how to speak? If you know how to speak, you should be good at working with parts of speech. It's another topic. It's another topic for us today. It's parts of speech. What exactly are parts of speech? Okay. Right. Parts of speech. I want to know them today. I want to get to know what parts of speech are. Are you ready? Let's go. Parts of speech explained, right? We're looking at parts of speech. What exactly are parts of speech? Now, to understand what parts of speech are, we need to look at a thing called word arrangement. Yes, word arrangement. In other words, this is called English grammar. English grammar. Word arrangements. How are the words structured? That is what we're looking at. We should know by now that all sentences, are made up of words, and that every word that is written has a function that it fulfills. These functions are called parts of speech. Parts of speech. These are the functions, word functions, called parts of speech. Parts of speech are what we need to know in order to be able to solve grammatical problems in our writing. The most well-known parts of speech in English would be your nouns. Those are the most well-known parts of speech. It's nouns, pronouns, adverbs, adjectives, conjunctions, articles, verbs, prepositions, adverbs, and a lot more. There are many parts of speech, and that is why in today's lesson, we're going to be covering specifically that. We're going to be looking at parts of speech. We want to know what parts of speech are. I've already given you the definition, or rather an idea of what parts of speech are in this lesson. What we're going to do next is that we're going to discuss these well-known parts of speech in detail, in full detail. We're going to be learning about these parts of speech. The first one we get to learn about today in our lesson is noun. What is a noun? Are you able to identify nouns in any sentence that you may read? Are you able to do that? I think you will once we get to learn about nouns in a jiffy. Okay, now let's look at the nouns. What is a noun to you? A noun is a word that is used to give a person, a place, an event, or a thing, a name for it. A noun is anything that is physical. Physical in a sense that it can be touched or seen with your eyes. Nouns can be loosely defined as naming words. For example, that over there is called a bike. See, that over there is called a bike. It's called a bike. In English, in formal English, because of colloquialism and all of that, it's called a bike. That over there is called a bike. So that is how we look at nouns. That is how we get to understand today what nouns are. There are two main classes of nouns, basically. We have singular nouns and we have plural nouns. It's important for us to note that for this today's lesson, actually, we're not going to be looking at singular nouns and plural nouns. This is another section that we have to cover in our next videos that we're going to be doing, our next lesson. That's when we're going to cover these two aspects relating to strictly to nouns. Okay? So when looking at sentence elements, we have to understand that a noun, it functions often as the subject of the sentence. Remember your sentence elements. Your subject is usually the noun. It represents the noun. And then your object represents your object is also a sentence element. It represents any other thing that is that can be seen, that can be touched. Right? And then we have the verb. Right? So we can conclude by now, right now we can conclude that a noun, it functions as the subject of the sentence. And also sometimes it functions as a object of a sentence when looking at sentence elements, basically. Our knowledge of nouns does not end just there. It does not end just there. We have to know, guys, we have to know that there are types of nouns as well that we need to learn about. Right? There are various types of nouns. The first one being proper nouns. Second one, pronouns. Third one is common nouns. The fourth one, collective nouns. The fifth one on our list, as shown on the diagram, is the abstract noun. Those are the 5 types of nouns that we cover in today's lesson. It's proper nouns, pronouns as second, common nouns, collective nouns, and abstract noun as the 5th type of nouns. Exciting, right? It must be exciting to learn about parts of speech. It's very important so that we are able to correct grammatical problems in our writing. With parts of speech, you are able to communicate better. As a speaker, you are able to relay messages understandably to the recipient. Okay, so let's discuss these types of nouns. We first start with pronouns. As promised, we're looking at pronouns first. What is a pronoun? Oh, mind you, we're looking at proper nouns actually. What is a proper noun? A proper noun, it expresses a name that is given to a person or a place. That is a proper noun. It expresses a name that is given to someone or a particular place. That is how we understand proper nouns from today's lesson. Okay? It is important that we know that places and names that are written with a capital first letter represent proper nouns, and that proper nouns will always, guys, I repeat this again. Proper nouns will always begin with a capital first letter. The best example that I can give you is the word Michaeline. The name Michaeline is a name that is given to somebody from birth. Her name is Michaeline. Michaeline is a proper noun in the sentence. Her name is Michaeline. Michaeline is a proper noun because it starts with the capital letter M. Other proper nouns that exist in English language is Standerton. Standerton, that's the name of a place. Have you been in Standerton? I haven't, but I've heard that it's a nice place to be in Standerton. So guys, that is proper nouns. Proper nouns always begin with a capital letter and they are used to give a name. It expresses a name that is handed to a person or a place, or that is given to a place. So those are proper nouns for you guys. It's important for us to understand proper nouns as part of our understanding of nouns and parts of speech. Pronoun is the next type of noun that we're looking at. A pronoun is a word used in place of a noun. A pronoun is a name used in place of a noun. Examples of pronouns would be words like I, me, we, myself, ourselves, who, this and that. Those are examples of pronouns. There are a lot of pronouns, including impersonal pronouns, reflective pronouns, personal pronouns, empathic pronouns, and more. Common noun. What is a common noun? A common noun, this is a name that is given to an object. It's a name given to an object. That object can be a book, for example. It's a book. A ruler is a common noun as well. A pencil, a pen, a bookcase, a phone, a mobile phone. That is a common noun. Those are common nouns, guys. Common nouns give names to objects, strictly to objects, things that can be seen and touched. It's important to know also that apart from knowing what we understand today about common nouns, we need to know that common nouns are also distinguished into three parts. We have countable common nouns, we have uncountable common nouns, and then we also have countable common nouns, uncountable common nouns, and concrete common nouns. Yes, those are the three types of common nouns. Countable common nouns, these are things that can be counted. Yes, things that can be counted. The word is self-explanatory, countable nouns. For example, how many pens were left in, how many pen or pencils were left in the staff room, in the teacher's staff room? I say 10 because I counted them at a certain time, at a certain date, and there were 10 pencils indeed. But now only 5 are short. Where only 5 are left, 5 are missing. Where are the 5 missing pencils? So that is a countable noun. Uncountable common nouns are the ones that cannot be counted. Right? Then concrete nouns are also distinguished as well. We're going to learn about this in detail when we get into aspects of common nouns in detail. We're going to learn about this very soon. For now, all that we need to know is that a common noun is a word that is used to name an object, like a book, a watch. Those are objects, right? Yes. Collective nouns. Collective nouns. A collective noun basically it's a singular noun referring to individual things as a group. Yes, that is a collective noun. Look at your herd, for example. Herd, as in a group of cows. Sheep. A herd is the best example of a collective noun. The best, very best example of a collective noun. Because it refers to a group of animals that feed together, that eat together. Have you ever seen cows that are grazing the grass? Cows that are being tended by doing farming activities like grazing. That is a collective noun. We group individual things together, collective nouns. Abstract noun is our last type of noun that we're looking at, and it shows basically an idea or feeling that you might have inside of you. Love, inspiration, intelligence. So intelligent, that one. I like that one. She's so intelligent. Or he's so intelligent, that boy. He's bright. These words are called abstract qualities, and they cannot be touched or seen, but they can be felt. That is an abstract noun. Anything that contains abstract qualities qualifies to be or classed as an abstract noun. Still on the Wondrous Schooling Academy, we're going to do something that's fun, very fun in our learning activity today. We're going to be doing questions. Yes, we're doing questions. I want us to see whether we'll be listening or not. Were you listening or not? I want to see. Okay. The first question is question number 1. And it has instructions. Remember the task analysis? Always remember the task analysis. Right? The instruction for question 1 is identify the nouns in the sentences. The task analysis, identify. That is the key word. You must identify. To identify, you must see. You must have a look. You must check for nouns in the sentence. Question number 1. Number 1.1. I hope you'll come tomorrow to my house. I hope you will come to my house. I hope you'll come to my house. Yes, of course, but only after supper. That would be rather late for our meeting. Perhaps that would be a good idea. Look at these questions. Study the statements and identify the nouns in the sentences. We will get back. I'm setting a countdown timer. I'm giving you about 4 minutes. You answer these 4. I'm giving you like 4 minutes. You answer these. I'm expecting you during that 4 minutes to answer all of these questions under question number 1. And then we'll get back in a jiffy and we'll answer these questions together. Thank you. I'll be back. Welcome back to Wondrous Schooling Academy. Today Again, I'm going to repeat, we're looking at parts of speech. We were still on our lesson. We were still covering aspects pertaining to the elements of speech, the parts of speech. And I left you guys with a countdown timer. And asked for you to finish the 4 questions, the 4 main questions that are part of question number 1. Right, let's give the solutions to these questions. Number 1 is as follows. It says that identify the nouns in the sentences. Question number 1.1 says, I hope you will come to my house. Where is the noun? What is the noun? Have you identified it? Haven't? Or have you identified it? What is the noun? Remember that a noun is a naming word. A noun is a naming word. It gives a place or a person a name. I hope you will come to my house. The answer is simple. It's house. House is the answer. How is house the answer? Because house is a place where it's a place of residence. It's a place of residence. It's a place, therefore it is a noun. It's a place, therefore it is a noun. Question 1.2. It says, yes, of course. But only after supper. What is the noun? It's very simple. Very, very simple. Not a difficult question, this one. We can answer it. The answer is supper. The answer is supper. Supper is the noun that we identify in the sentence. Question 1.3. That will rather be late for our meeting. That would rather be late for our meeting. Very late for our meeting. Oh, you said we must meet at 6:30 in the evening. That would rather be late for our meeting. What is the noun? Oh, yes. What is the noun? I thought you had your answers ready. The noun is meeting. Meeting is the noun in the sentence. Question 1.4. Perhaps that would be a good idea. Perhaps that would be a good idea. Yeah, that would be a good idea. perhaps that would be a good idea. What is the noun? The noun is indeed idea. Idea is the noun. Idea is the noun in the sentence. Right. We've answered question 1. We've filled in the answers for question number 1. All that we need to do at this moment is move on with our lesson and learn a bit more about other parts of speech apart from nouns. Second part of speech that we discuss today is articles. What is an article? An article, they say an article is it's a piece of writing, a piece of non-fictional writing that is revealed to the rest of the world in a newspaper, magazine, or any other form of publication. That is an article. That's a basic, that is an article in general. An article refers to a piece of writing, non-fictional writing, something that is based on a true story. That is an article. Articles, they contain things like your caption, which is the title of the heading of the article, right? For example, fees must fall. Fees must fall. That would be a caption of an article. But now, this time, we're not dealing with that type of article. We're looking at articles as a part of speech. What is an article as a part of speech? An article refers to either an indefinite article or a definite article. It is a part of speech that appears normally before a noun. Articles can be divided as follows. We have definite articles, then we have indefinite articles. A definite article is the word the. The. The is the definite article. Indefinite article is either the words N as in N, which comes before any other word beginning with a vowel. For example, a word beginning with a vowel. If a word begins with a vowel, we will place the indefinite article an, which is pronounced as follows: n, as in the letter N. When we're looking at our alphabets, the 26 alphabets that we're looking at. An indefinite article can either refer to words N, which comes before a word beginning with a vowel, or the word A, the first alphabetic letter that we come across from our kindergarten years. In our nursery schools, we were taught letters from A to Z. We were taught letters from A to Z. And the first letter that we learned was A. A is an indefinite article. Okay? Right. Now that we have explained what an article is, we move on to our next part of speech, which is a verb. A verb indicates an action or a movement of some kind. A verb is an action word, and there are a lot of examples of verbs and types of verbs. Now, examples and types of verbs. We have a finite verb, which is not covered under this lesson. My apologies. We have infinite verb, having no ending, which is not covered in this topic. My apologies. We're going to look at those aspects pertaining to verbs in our next lesson. Next lesson, promise, it's going to be like that. It's a date. We're going to be looking at finite and infinite verbs next time. Then we have auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb and the modal verb. Often these two are confused. Auxiliary verbs and modal verbs. Let's explain them in detail. An auxiliary verb, it's a word that is, it's actually a verb actually. Auxiliary verb it's a verb. It indicates action of some kind. But this one is a different type of a verb in that it helps other verbs to complete the sense in the sentence. For example, to use the use of the words have in a sentence, done, do, should. Have, done, do, should. These words show that there's an auxiliary verb in the sentence, as in, you should have considered my business proposal, sir. Should have considered my business proposal. Sir, you should have considered my business proposal. Should have is indeed an auxiliary verb because it helps other verbs. It helps introduce other verbs in the sentence. Should have, should have is the auxiliary verb, and have introduces considered, which is another verb. It's a normal verb, that one. Have is the auxiliary, and considered should be, considered is another. It's a normal verb. It's a normal verb. I don't want to be fancy. I don't want to make a mistake, but it's a normal verb. Then have is the auxiliary verb. You should have considered my business proposal. And lastly, we have modal verbs. A modal verb, it is a verb also. It's a type of a verb that introduces mainly. It introduces. Sorry, I'm still stuck on auxiliary verbs. Sorry, you have to apologize. My apologies. A modal verb is actually a type of a verb that expresses possibility, a sense of possibility, an obligation that has to be done. That is a modal verb. So we have many modal verbs, examples of modal verbs. The best one would be might, may, would, could, may, would, could, and might. The weather might rain tomorrow. The weather might rain tomorrow. Might in that statement is indeed a modal verb because there's a possibility, there's a chance there it's indicating that there is a possibility that it might rain tomorrow. The speaker is indicating that. So definitely might is a modal verb, which is a type of a verb as well. Right? Thank you for having to attend and participate in this lesson. Today's lesson, we covered a whole lot about parts of speech. We're going to look at other parts of speech in next lessons that will come after this. For now, this is an introduction. We've looked at 3 main parts of speech that are used in English. I said it's a nouns, articles, and verbs. Nouns, articles, and verbs. Thank you for participating once more and hope to see you next time on the Wondrous Schooling Academy. Goodbye.